weiß, ich bin 5 Tage zu spät, weil ich mit dem ganzen Projekt und so mega viel zu tun, aber endlich die Jetpack-Folge. Bei dieser ganzen HACKLORIAN-Serie habe ich mich ja vor allem einfach auf das Jetpack gefreut. Die bauen ja von Mandalorian die Rüstung nach und wir haben uns bisher alle Teile angeschaut und jetzt endlich ist das Jetpack dabei und bin so gespannt. Baby Yoda, Grogu ist auch natürlich wieder am Start. Let's do it.
In this chapter, Bogdan is building the Mandalorian's jetpack.
Alter, glaubt ihr, der kann wirklich fliegen da mit dem Jetpack? Ich weiß ja nicht. Ist es nicht voll schwierig, so ein fliegendes Jetpack zu bauen? I don't know, ich frag nur für Freunde.
Welcome to Chapter 5 of our Mandalorian series. Over the past month, my team and I at Hacksmith Industries have been piecing together our very own Mandalorian suit. In Chapters 1 through 4, we built the flamethrower, the blaster and spear, the helmet, and Grogu's preferred method of transportation.
Ich muss sagen, bisher das Coolste davon fand ich war der Helm, I guess.
His floating cradle. We're halfway to the epic finale where I will don the suit for the first time and put it to the ultimate test. You definitely don't want to miss it.
Nee, das werden wir auf gar keinen Fall verpassen.
After 4 chapters, we've decided to get Ian in on the action. So in the next chapter, he'll be calling on his experience from the early days of the channel, working on Batman builds. When dealing with science fiction, there are obviously some things we just can't do. As a channel, we've made a ton of episodes attempting to fly like Iron Man.
Es gibt ja wirklich diese Iron Man Suits, ne? Ich finde diese übel geil. Das ist von einer britischen Firma, wo die so richtig damit rumfliegen. Warte mal. Ja, genau, diese Dinger hier. Ich hoffe irgendwie ein bisschen, dass das Jetpack von denen fliegen kann. Sieht so ein bisschen ähnlich aus, was sie da versucht haben. Das ist von einer britischen Firma. Und ey, ich schwöre, wenn ich irgendwann mal die Möglichkeit bekomme, die Dinger zu testen, Leben durchgespielt. Ich muss aber auch sagen, ich hoffe irgendwie, dass das Ding fliegen kann, weil, keine Ahnung, Jetpack ohne Fliegen ist halt irgendwie auch nur ein Kanister, wo Feuer rauskommt, I guess.
I even had the opportunity to travel to California and take Richard Browning's jet suit for a quick test.
Ach, der Typ ist damit sogar geflogen? Ein bisschen neidisch, wa?
But unfortunately, a real working jetpack just isn't in the cards for us. Yet.
Oh.
Especially one as compact as Mando's. But the suit just wouldn't
Schade.
look complete
Kein Jetpack.
without this awesome
Okay,
texture.
dann bin ich gespannt, ob es wenigstens cool aussieht.
Strapped to his back.
Schade.
So we're still gonna push forwards. And I'm sure we can find some way to work in a bit of fire. And of course, his missile.
Okay, jetzt bin ich wieder hooked. Feuer.
There's no one I trust more when it comes to jet engines, so Bogdan is gonna take it away.
We need to find a way to fit all these components and parts inside a Mandalorian suit. We have the power pack for the flamethrower, the
Ist das einfach ein alter Feuerlöscher, den die umgebaut haben? Ich frag nur so.
controller and batteries for the grappling hook, as well as the Arduino that controls the entire suit. The best place to hide it is going to be in the jetpack, because it is essentially just a backpack. We also need to make room for all the jetpack components themselves, and that, my friends, is a lot of parts.
You know, one of the most rewarding parts of growing Hacksmith Industries is building an amazing team of talented people to create projects. Plus, we have a ton of fun along the way.
Boah, wie viele Leute da arbeiten. Holy shit.
So what are we looking at here, Bogdan?
So this is the backing plate for the jetpack, and I'm kind of thinking to mount the speed controller somewhere in the middle since it's the largest component, and then the batteries kind of fit just on the sides there. The control board and the Arduino can go right in the
Einfach casually so ein Jetpack bauen, Alter, imagine.
middle, and that clears up space on the sides because on the actual jetpack, he's got these 2 cylinders, which we can just, substitute for our flamethrower components.
And flamethrower, nice, yeah.
Yeah, so these will fit right there. Probably get some hose clamps that are easy to remove so we can take these in and out. And then the only other thing is the 2 valves controlling the flow.
Okay.
So those will go up there.
Awesome. And how is this going to stick to my back?
I don't know, I was thinking straps or something.
Magnete?
I'm going to be integrating this kind of harness thing into the costume.
Okay.
I think what we can do is basically almost make an interface plate off the back that your jetpack thing can quickly be attached to. Because the problem is Mando doesn't wear the jetpack like a backpack.
Yeah.
So it's literally like floating off of his back.
So I'm thinking maybe add some mounting holes up here.
Yep.
And then use some
Was glaubt ihr, wie viel Mandalorian haben die für die Serie geschaut, so Bild für Bild, damit die Dinger nachbauen können?
kind of quick clips or some wing nuts or something to secure it.
And then for the grappling hook components, the speed controller and the batteries, we're going to want to be able to use the grappling hook Ian's designing separately. So maybe we could make this modular as a sub-assembly that you can actually install in a pack or remove from the jetpack in case we want to use it just in a regular backpack or whatever else when we're doing that test.
Yeah, that should be no extra effort. I know you said you don't want it to fly. We should at least try. Like, we've got the jet engines. We might as well see what it would take to do that.
Well,
Er ist nicht amused.
Look, okay, so we get about 27 kilograms of actual thrust out of this engine. Let's see what this entire thing weighs.
8.5 kilos.
Oh,
Okay, and you weigh how much?
About 65 kilograms right now.
And then the armor,
Probably about 20 kilograms.
and Ian's grappling hook winch, that's probably another 12 kilograms. And
Das kriegen die niemals hoch.
All right, so what's our weight budget? 112.5 once he finishes the calculator.
about 112 and a half kilograms. Let's just round that up to 115. And we want about a 70% throttle ratio. It's about 165 kilograms of thrust that we need. Divide that by 27 kilograms per engine. Okay, so we need about 6 jet engines.
Lacht doch einfach nur.
Theoretically, if you had 2 in your backpack, 1 on each leg and 1 on the arm.
You know what that reminds me of?
Richard
Gravity's jet suit.
Yeah, we'd
Genau die haben gerade gesprochen.
actually need more jet engines than them because they only have 5. Okay, so I guess the jet engine and trying to fly is probably not very practical.
Could we at least make this look more like a jetpack?
Yeah, so what I was thinking is in chapter 1 we had these blowtorch nozzles and these just run on propane. We have propane on the system, so that's not an issue.
Ah, nee, die haben noch diesen Flammenwerfer gebaut. Der war auch voll.
Fairly
nice.
easy just to attach these to the bottom, and the flame looks exactly like the one in the movie.
In season 2 of The Mandalorian, we see the jetpack fly by itself, where the jet engines actually have thrust vectoring, not unlike a SpaceX Starship.
Right.
Could we do something like that?
Yeah, I think so. Pan tilt mechanism for these would be fairly simple.
What?
Well, let's do that.
Cool, so I'll get to designing this, I'll finish all this up,
What? Das Ding so selbst fliegen können?
and I guess I'll get Ben to design a pan tilt mechanism for this.
Let's make it real.
Awesome, let's do it.
Thrust vectoring is much simpler than it sounds. Any engine applies a single force in one direction. What thrust vectoring is pivoting the engine to change the direction of the force to allow you to steer. In our case, we won't actually be flying, so we don't need to steer, but we still want it to look cool, just like me. I bought this simple servo pan tilt module for 20 bucks online, and I need to go into SolidWorks and design a mounting bracket to mount this gas nozzle to this servo. Let's hop into SolidWorks.
In order to mount all the pieces, we first need to drill all the mounting holes. The holes are done, now it's time to bend it to its final shape. So that perfectly even. Next up, the speed controller and batteries. This is the mounting plate that James asked for to make the components removable. Pro tip for easy wire management, lots of zip ties and flush cutters to make sure that the zip ties, when you cut them, don't cut you. This goes right here. Before I go any further on mounting, I'm going to build the covering plate as well as the 2 tubes that hold the flamethrower components.
While Bogdan works on the jetpack, I'm going to be designing a PCB. It's going to control the thrust vectoring nozzles, the whistling birds, the flamethrower, the missile, and it's all going to interface with the button pad I made back in chapter 1. I'm using Altium Designer. You can take a closer look at this PCB using Altium Viewer. Let's get to it. All right, this is looking pretty good. It's a good thing I added all those extra buttons because this PCB has a lot of outputs. If you want to learn about our design, check out our schematic at maker.io. PCBs are still something we outsource, and there's not a better, faster, more affordable place to
Ich frage mich, ob das ein Dauerplacement ist, weil die machen in jedem Video Werbung für die.
go than JLC PCB. They offer great boards at a quick turnaround.
The cover will complete the jetpack's look. The jetpack cover is the most complicated piece of this build. Multiple angles and different shapes. If I don't get this right, the whole project will suffer. And that's a 50-degree bend, so that's gonna go this way. That's everything. Let's go weld it. That's the backing plate. Next, we need the round tubes to hold the propane, the fire extinguisher, and the rocket. Now, we just have to roll them, similar to what we did with the flamethrower gauntlet. Time to weld. That's one, let's do one now.
Ich muss sagen, mittlerweile in dieser Serie, also to be honest, wir haben echt oft gesehen, wie das Metall verformt. Das könnte man auch irgendwie mal ein bisschen beschleunigen. Ich skippe mal ein bisschen rein. Wenn ihr das ganze Ding mit dem Metall sehen wollt, dann schaut bei Hacksmith vorbei.
Alright, this thing is looking pretty good. There's still a lot of work to do, but before I get to that, I'd like to make sure it fits on James's harness. Hey James, this thing's ready for test fitting.
Ooh, I just finished making the plate for the harness, so let's see if they go together. The jetpack will sit on this kind of hook and then attach to those two bolts, and it'll actually be basically floating off my back because this is actually going to be inside my costume. So the only thing coming out of the costume will be those two bolts and that hook, which should look really cool.
Theoretically, this should just be able to
Alter, wie viel wiegt dieses Kostüm später?
right onto those two hooks, and then right onto those bolts.
And I've got the wing nuts over here.
Yep.
Wow, that was pretty heavy.
There you go. How does that feel? I've just put together these two connectors, which are going to route propane to both of our nozzles as well as the flamethrower. The propane comes in here, diverges into these two hoses here, into these two valves, and that's what powers the two nozzles. And then there is basically a switch here so we can turn on and off the flamethrower where this nozzle connects to. And finally, everything connects to Caleb's PCB. Okay, I'm done with this for now. Next up, we're gonna add some more decorational pieces to this plate over here and here. Time to put together the flamethrower mechanism. Time for the final touches.
Das sieht nice aus. Boah. Okay, es sieht schon sexy aus. Gotta admit.
I told you we'd get fire in there somehow. After 5 chapters, we're halfway through our Mandalorian series. We still have a ton
Die
of
Hälfte? Hä, wie lange geht denn diese Serie? Ich dachte, die werden jetzt so nächste Folge fertig.
amazing content coming your way before the epic finale. And in Chapter 6, Ian will build Mando's grappling gun.
What the fuck?
And if you
Krass,
just
okay, dann geht die Serie ja noch einiges. Geil. Bitte abonniert meine Channels. Danke. Stay curious. Lol.